beach hair, don't care, because this is Malaysia. Have you ever had one of those mornings where you jump out of bed, get out of your room, and the beach is right in front of you? Guys, this is the Perhentian Islands. I didn't know a lot about Malaysia, but I definitely didn't know it looked like this. White sand beaches, emerald green waters. This is considered one of the most amazing beach areas in all of Asia, and I had never heard of it. But we arrived here yesterday, had a half day. It was fantastic, and today we have a full day planned. So we're gonna check out Coral Beach in the morning, then we're gonna head to Long Beach, which is considered the backpacker, one of the most popular beaches in the Perhentian Islands. And then we're gonna go snorkeling, where we get to check out both islands because there are two of them, both Kechil and Besar. Then we're gonna head to the Fisherman's Village because you know the best food is gonna be the Fisherman's Village. This is gonna be a full day. Alan also wants to go kayaking. We'll see if we have time for that. I don't know. All I know is this place has just made me so happy. First, we need some breakfast. Now, I started planning this trip a day before we got here. But I was a little bit stressed about where to stay because I didn't know a lot about the Perhentian Islands. I knew that there was the big island, Besar, the little island, Kechil, and Kechil was considered the more budget-friendly one, but I didn't want to stay somewhere isolated just in case we wouldn't be able to get anywhere. But the truth is, both islands are actually quite small. There are a lot of water taxis, and then also there are paths through the jungle so you can walk to most of the beaches if you want to. I decided to stay at Coral Bay. It's a good thing because there are lots of fish here. The water is so clear, you can look through to the bottom to see it. Great snorkeling, but I also wondered, oh, maybe there will be too much coral and I actually won't be able to walk. That's not true. Where we're staying, there's this big open area and you can walk around the coral because you can actually see it because the water is that clear. Coral Bay is known to have the best sunsets on the island, and I will attest to that. And it's also a little bit more chill because there are only a handful of restaurants. There's one convenience store and a couple of dive shops. So there's no music on the island at all, just the sound of the waves. It is the island paradise that I was looking for. As I mentioned, tourism is the #1 industry here in the Perhentian Islands, which is fantastic because it means conservation of scuba, snorkeling, the islands, the coral, fantastic. And it also means that you can get accommodation at a number of different levels. So you can stay in a tent for $10 a night, you can stay in luxury for $500 a night. For me, the #1 thing was actually staying as close to the water as possible, being on the beach. We rented these little A-frames, which they warned us were very rustic. They're kind of like staying in a cottage 30 years ago before cottages became this luxury thing that you could only get on Airbnb. But everything you need, clean bathroom, hot water, a bed, a porch with 2 chairs. I love staying there because you're right against the water, so you wake up to the sound of the waves and you go to sleep to the sound of the waves. You can't get any better. Here you really do need to be prepared for all kinds of weather. It was sunny, now it's cloudy. It's supposed to be sunny later. Alan promised me we are going to have sunny weather for snorkeling today, but I'm not so mad about this cool weather, the cloudiness, because we're gonna go for a walk to Long Beach. Now you can take a water taxi there and pretty much everywhere around the islands and to the other island very easily, but there are also paths that you can take. So we're gonna walk, I think just 10 minutes through the jungle to Long Beach. It is supposed to be known as the more lively destination. Did we make the right decision by going to Coral Bay instead? We're gonna find out. Here's the island here, and to go to Long Beach is 25, but you can also just go to Ombak Dive Resort. And it looks like you're gonna walk in, but you actually, I guess, walk through it to the other side. And then it's great, there are lots of signs, so you're not trespassing. They know that you're gonna go through. All right, this is what I expected, although I did not expect a road. But I think you have to go up, over the hill, and then down the other side. Whew. Now, two things. One, this is uphill. I think to go to most of the beaches you can walk to, but you have to go through the jungle. And if you look at my drone footage, you can see beach, hill, mountain, beach. It's like a little bit of exercise without paying for the gym. Not gonna complain. But also, you may be wondering, oh my goodness, you're at the beach. Why are you wearing so much clothing? That's because when we came in yesterday, came in on a ferry, like a fast boat. It was great, very calm, but I thought I would put on a lot of sunscreen. Apparently I didn't. I burned. And now I'm paying for it today. So today, I need to cover up. Because part of me, parts are really sore where I missed that sunscreen. All right, so we stopped for some coconut water just because I find here the heat is almost like a desert heat. You're hot, but you don't realize it. And then also, you know, we are near the equator, and so the radiation is high. So you need to protect yourself. And so this is a great way to do it. This was 10 ringgit, which really surprised me because normally I'm used to in Indonesia, other countries, coconuts being $150 US. This is the equivalent to 250, I think, yeah. But we are on the beach. It's a beautiful view. We're supporting local vendors, so that's absolutely fine. Now, as I was sharing this with you, Alan actually went behind me to order food. And that's because they say the way to a man's heart is through food. But I know for Alan, the way to his heart is through squid and shrimp. And so he saw these. These are shrimp fritters. And so what they do is they cut up the shrimp and then they mix it with flour, and it looks like some green onion as well. And then this, he said, is a typical Malaysian sauce that uses brown sugar. It's a little bit spicy, but not spicy. Really great flavor. And then I thought this was going to be like dipping it in sugar, but it's not. It's like a syrup. I don't know what this is called, but we're going to find out. But I would basically call it like a shrimp fritter. It's really tasty. And then she was so nice. She gave us fried banana for free. So just little pieces of fried banana. I'm gonna try it in the sauce because this sauce is so good. I think this just goes to show you can go to, I mean, this isn't super touristy, but definitely Long Beach is probably one of the most touristy places here on the Perhentian Islands, but still have just like meet wonderful people, have lovely interactions with locals. She's so nice. She gave us the recipe. So this has brown sugar, water, and then also some lime, and there was some chili in it. So it has this like flavor of chili, but not the spice of chili. And then I'm gonna tell you how much this is at the end, but there's so much of this, but it's so good. We're definitely not eating lunch. We're gonna go for a swim after this, and then we're going to walk to Fisherman's Village after snorkeling. Now it's mid-September, so it's actually the beginning of low season. So you can see behind me there are lots of restaurants, lots of chairs, and they are empty. But this isn't quite how it was explained to me. I heard that Long Beach was all of the backpackers it was the cheap accommodation, and it was a little bit more of a party. I haven't seen any of that so far. So number one, accommodation, not cheap. I don't think there are any hostel dorms here. And rooms here, if you get something under 40 a night, it's gonna be very, very, very rustic. So no towel, shared bathroom. And I think you're basically just living in like a wood hut, even more of a hut than what we have as our A-frame. I can see on both sides here, there are expensive hotels that have opened up. And a lot of the hotels that I looked at that were above a 7 rating on Booking and Agoda were $100 a night. So definitely change from that undiscovered to sleep in a hut on the beach for $7. The other thing here is there is beer, but not a lot of it, and I don't think it's cheap. And so most of the tourists here are Malaysian, and you don't get a lot of that backpacker crowd that's just looking for $4 dorm beds and 50-cent beer, which is actually quite nice because I had those days and those days are over. And we made it back to Coral Bay, and look at this weather. So sunny. Alan was absolutely right. This is perfect for snorkeling. Now, I'm the kind of person, I like to check the weather online, but Alan says no. If you're in a place, you have to look outside, see the weather, look at the clouds, feel the wind. He was right. But he did say to me it might not be sunny all day because he did see some clouds in the distance. He said it just depends on which way the wind will go. But right now for snorkeling, this is going to be amazing. So here on the island, apparently there are tarantulas, which we have not seen. There are these giant lizards. They're lizards, right? Yeah, they're giant lizards on this walk. So it looks like it's like a community walk or something because they tell you how many calories that you've burned walking here. You can see it used to be a formal walking trail. I don't know what happened over the years. This is definitely the worst part because the road really becomes not a road. Alan compared this to Mentawai. Now the only thing I wish this route did have was actual mile markers. So there are signs to tell you not to disturb the biosphere, not to litter. But let us know, are we close? Are we 1 kilometer away? Are we 5 kilometers away? We have no idea. There are markers to let you know you're going the right way, but it would be great if they just also put the mile mark or the kilometer mark. And we made it. So these are power trucks according to Alan. And then this must be like an old friends. Hello. So this is the Floating Mosque, and it's not the only one in Malaysia. I believe there's another one in Malacca, but this is beautiful. It's a Sunday, so it's very quiet. The biggest day for a mosque is on a Friday. It's where it's the most active. You'll hear the most coming from in terms of people praying and discussing and talking, and a lot of people come to the mosque on a Friday. Yeah. No straw. She's trying to look to see what we ordered to charge us. She can't see because he's balancing it. How much?
26.
26, including the ice limau. All right, it is lunchtime. So we got 2 plates of food, ice limau, which is basically an iced lime drink. I love it. I drink it so much here. The drinks in Malaysia are huge. That's actually one of the things that we noticed the most was that you don't get like little drinks. Everything is like a double-decker drink, unfortunately in plastic with a straw. I forgot to bring all of that kind of stuff with me. But 2 different types of squid in, I think this is probably like a sweet, a little bit spicy sauce, and then in this yellow sauce. And then of course I got veggies because I just do not get enough veggies in the day. But I want to try the squid. Oh, it's so tender and really tender. Lots of flavor. It's actually sweet. People on the coast actually prefer sweet food. So you might have a little bit of spice, but for the most part, if you see these red sauces, they're actually very, very sweet. This is fantastic. I had heard that the fisherman's village had the best food. It definitely does. I don't know how many people are fishermen here. I don't see a lot of fishermen kind of gear out here, but it's still worth coming here. If you don't come here on a tour, it's very easy to get here, and then actually to get home, it's even easier and cheaper. All right, that was an amazing lunch. So this is like an outdoor food court with $5 lunches, $1 million views. It is so beautiful here. If you're not into nasi kandar, where you can choose from what is freshly made, you can go to restaurants. You just walk a little bit further down. There are lots of restaurants also on the water where you can order a la carte menu food to order. You can't go wrong. The food here is fresh. The view is beautiful. Now I know you're wondering, what about the snorkeling tour? I showed you lots of video, but I didn't say anything about it. It was just a little bit too difficult to do everything all at once, but here's what I would say. It's 40 ringgit for the tour, and I do recommend it. You should definitely do it on your first day or your second day to get acquainted with the islands, because you go to the big island as well as the small islands, and you go to some of the most wonderful places. Now, everyone here kind of sells the same tour that you go to 4 to 5 places. You go to Turtle Point, Shark Point, and some other beaches that you're supposed to see unique things. We did see a turtle. Apparently, it's not easy to see a shark, but we actually got to just swim in really beautiful waters and see really beautiful things. If you're really into snorkeling, this is probably not for you, because we arrived at the same time as everybody else, so it was difficult and a little bit crowded at times, especially at Turtle Point. But you can also take the same group tour at 2 p.m. or what I would recommend if you're really into snorkeling, really want to see a shark, is to actually hire a private driver. Our driver was great, but he wasn't a guide, he was a driver. At Turtle Point, he did jump in the water for us with my GoPro to shoot it for me. Unfortunately, we had it on time-lapse for some reason, but gotta give kudos to him. He was just very nice to offer that to us. But if you really want to see everything, get a private tour. Now, I do want to add one thing to this, because at our last point, I did see some people in the boat. They were feeding the water, so they had a bottle full of wet bread, and they were getting all the fish to come to them. Do not feed the fish. If you care about wildlife, if you care about the ocean, about coral, don't do it. So what happens is, those little fishes that are coming to you away from the coral, they are vulnerable to predators, but also that means they're not cleaning the algae off the coral. So they are becoming more vulnerable. They're making the coral more vulnerable. You're basically knocking everything out of balance. Just accept the fact that sometimes when you go snorkeling, sometimes there are going to be a lot of fish, sometimes there won't. But that's why you should also stay here multiple days. We thought it was fantastic, loved seeing the beaches, and now over the next few days we have some inspiration to go back to some, especially KK Beach, which was great, but I think it would be better in the afternoon after all the tours have gone and you have that white sand, that emerald green water to yourself. Here's the main part, heart of town. It's a typical kind of tourist port where you can get some souvenirs if you need anything like a cover-up or anything that you forgot to bring, a purse, anything. They've got lots of little floatables. You can get it all here. So another thing you can do here is that you can actually stay in the village. There are a number of very affordable homestays, guest houses, hotels, inns that are on the cheaper side, 100%. You're next to the best food, but also you're next to the Jetty. And so the Jetty has the most affordable taxis to get to the other parts of the island. So you might not be staying beachfront, but you would actually save money with the best food and getting the best taxi prices, so you could go wherever you wanted. It would be really great if you were diving or something like that and you're not planning on spending much time on the beach. As much as we enjoyed the walk here, we weren't going back, especially with this dark cloud over here. So it's 30 ringgit to go from the Jetty to Coral Bay. And it looks like it's about to start raining. Have a look at these dark clouds. All right, guys, that was crazy. I was laughing through the whole thing out of fun, but also terror that I would fall out, like bump out, because the ocean is getting rough. The wind is coming in. It's about to rain for sure. Senja is closing everything up and people are pulling their boats in. We had hoped to go kayaking today. I don't think that's gonna happen. So in the next video, you're gonna see us in the most beautiful city in Malaysia. See you then.
Join my Patreon community for more behind the scenes and exclusive content you won't find elsewhere. You can also find me on Instagram, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. All of these things make my day. Thank you so much for your support.